is about We Are Monsters, a Kickstarter campaign by Cardiff-based John Shackleton, and that is
That is what?
Brett Humiter.
I'm Brett Bumiter, and I am not a monster. We are just covering We Are Monsters. But this is a pretty cool concept. This particular Kickstarter project, they're building a film, and they're basing it off of, what's their description? Monsters. A suburban schoolgirl joins a mutant gang, uncovering a global conspiracy that must fight to protect society. Basically, they're special effects guys that are making a film. Am I wrong?
This is a very ambitious project. It's being touted to the nines by John Shackleton in the pledge video, which I wouldn't say that it put me off, but it kind of made me seem as though if you're so big, what are you doing here on Kickstarter? Let me explain what I mean. They're trying to raise 100,000 sterling, which is 160,000 US dollars. It's one portion of a massive budget that they have laid out, that they show you in the approximate shape of a pie graph. The crowdfunded portion is a small sliver of the total amount of money they want to raise. Now, in the pledge video, Shackleton says that they're very confident that once they succeed with this particular audience engagement tool, which is crowdfunding, that they can bring this as proof of concept to their investors, who he says in the video are ready to invest, and that it's all lickety-split wrapped up. That's a bit of a risky thing to do if you don't actually have the investors lined up. Now, why do I say that? Because if you scroll to the bottom, maybe we'll bring up the page, Brett. If you scroll to the bottom of the page, and I'll let you just bring it up, at the very bottom, in the risks and in the risks section, there's a bit there's a bit about how risks and challenges. There's a bit over there about basically you can read the part, Brett. You can just tell people what I mean by that.
So the risks and challenges state we have already invested 80,000 sterling of our own money and resources into the development of the film to date through our company, Movie Mogul. There's no escaping the fact that filmmaking is an expensive business. As soon as we hit the Kickstarter, 100,000 sterling target, we will be in a position to approach film financiers. Let me repeat that, approach film financiers for the remaining budget, currently estimated at $3 million. It's fair to point out that it's possible that we may become delayed in this process for a multitude of unforeseen circumstances. And I'll just leave it at that as I kind of go into the yada 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 effect. I agree with you. It's interesting that they're trying to prove out the concept, and this gentleman does seem to definitely have the chops. He worked on Hellboy, I believe, and Pan's Labyrinth, and a couple other projects. Real cool concept, but trying to essentially prove your pilot movie is ready for prime time by getting some money from the fans first and then taking it to the big investors. I don't know. It might work, might not. What do you?
I would say there's a value proposition conflict here. Just to put things into perspective for people, 3 million British pounds is almost 5 million US dollars. It's just over 4.8. That is a lot of money in independent film. I do this for a living, so I know budgets when I see them. You're coming to the crowd for a very discrete portion. It does not even total 10% of the budget you seek. The crowdfunded portion is almost like a hiccup. It's just a trifle in the overall volume of money they're seeking. They're putting a tremendous amount of effort. The pledge video, very well done. Mm-hmm. It's very well blocked. It's very well staged. It's extremely well edited. And in terms of reference films and the whole jazz, it's also extremely well done. They're also, by the way, piggybacking on a previous campaign which was done for another film which garnered a ton of awards called Panic Button, which is very, very well done, well executed horror film that takes place in a small corporate jet in this very confined space, almost like Saw the original Saw, not the second or the third, but the original Saw. It has that kind of feel to it. The pledge rewards, pretty cool, but I just don't understand the strategy. I mean, why don't they just try to aim for more? I guess what they thought would happen here was, like a lot of the outstanding crowdfunding successes, that they would name a really paltry amount, and then they would overwhelmingly knock it out of the park with a windfall, a landslide of contributions like we've seen in some campaigns. But the reason I think this one is running into a bit of inertia is because I've been monitoring this campaign all day long, and unfortunately, that number, what they've raised thus far of 30,138, which is approximately 50 grand, that hasn't moved up, not even by a tick today. And that's concerning that now they have a month to go, and they've been going at it for a month. I'll talk about the duration in a moment, but that's concerning. They've put their proverbial sack on the table, and they're not really delivering on the rhetoric. What do you think, Brett?
Yeah, I would. I'd be the skeptic in me would almost wonder if they are doing this to, they set that low amount, for their higher end goal just to get the press of, surpassing the goal maybe, and now maybe that's not happening. Alternatively, maybe they're just trying to get the fanboys engaged ahead of time and create some pre-buzz or something like that. This is just one avenue of their social media outreach that's going to raise some money or something like that. I did think that the pledge goal, one of them I think is for, was it 15 pounds, 50 pounds, you can send in a high resolution image of yourself and they'll convert your face into a monster's face and send it back to you. I kind of thought that was an interesting concept. It's a easy tech thing to do, logistically speaking. They don't have to ship anything around. It's all digital files, and they can show their expertise in converting people into monsters, and those people might load it into Facebook. And interesting way to get buzz, but it strikes me that the teaser talks a lot about the special effects, but doesn't go much into the plot or what they're do they even have this thing written yet, or is it how far along is this project really? It looks like they've got the chops to do the special effects, and they've done movies before, but is this really developed or not developed, or where is it? I don't know. I couldn't get a sense of that myself.
Yeah, I really like the way they've organized the page. What you typically see with some crowdfunding campaigns is they don't put a lot of effort in the packaging. What John seems to do very well is emphasize the packaging of what he's asking, of the ask. We call it the ask. The page is extremely well designed. He uses a lot of HTML code to customize how he wants things to render and appear on the page. The rewards are cool for the fanboys, for instance. Are you seeing the message below, Brett?
The which message? Oh, let's analyze your film. Let us analyze your film.
That's right. In case you are interested in having us take a look at your project, we of course can do that. Just send us a little note. And back to the page for John Shackleton. The rewards are cool. I think it can appeal to the fanboys, but I think he's got to be picking up the pace. He hasn't even hit 50% of the target, and he's already been up and running for a month. Again, this could be another one of those situations where he's got the money waiting in reserve, and that if it gets panicky, he can always invoke the prime directive, as it were. But I just don't like how it's being branded. There's a lot of moxie there. There's a there's a lot of hubris. It comes off like it's a done deal. And if it's a done deal, if I'm the average Joe online looking for something to deposit some disposable cash in, I go, you know what? You don't need me. You've got £3 million. You got £3 million in the offing. I'm not sure if that's going to mar their campaign. What do you think, Brett?
It could, and I'm wondering as I look at the site, my first impression, possibly like yours, was that it was very polished. I did like the way they laid out the page. It was attractive to me, but at the same time, I wonder, is it good to start a campaign with a perfected Kickstarter page, or should you start the campaign out at one level and then go back and edit the page possibly and slowly show that you're improving things? Is this possibly too polished? Is this too Hollywood? And it almost looks like they're trying to sell DVDs on the page at some point, or buy the T-shirts, buy the DVD. It's less of a pledge and more of a sell product look in some areas. And I like what they're trying to do. It's just I'm wondering if it's a little too retail for a successful Kickstarter campaign.
You make a good point. I think something that may have allowed us to talk about it differently would be if they brought the actors into the picture, and have the actors actually perform the ask, have the actors actually get involved with the pledge video, perhaps even lacing in some behind-the-scenes footage, perhaps the casting sessions, perhaps some other things that would make it more humble. And I agree, this might be the thing that sinks them. I also think they've strategized accordingly. Because the amount they're seeking is so low, they've probably got another series of fundraising initiatives already in the pipeline, but they want to get successes. Filmmaking is all about momentum, and like a locomotive, once it starts to roll in a certain direction, invariably what happens is it just carries on its own forward steam. And I'm just concerned that they might get wins in the obvious areas. In other words, the rich investors, companies, brands, what have you, that invest in movies, they might have the money. But your grassroots, and that's what's being appealed to here in crowdfunding, I'm not seeing, and it's astonishing because for $50,000 so far, and only 100 backers, that means that you have an average of $500 per contributor. So they're not really going after the small folks, and the small folks get you the traction. It's the small folks that get you the spread.
Build the buzz, and this seems to be like it's going to be a project that will be well produced, very professional. It doesn't feel as indie as it might, but it is on Kickstarter, and I have to wonder with the pledge packages. I like the fact that they can turn a person into a monster and give them that experience, but maybe for $5,000 or $10,000 or something like that, you actually bring that person to the set, get them made up, or put them in the suit and turn them into a monster digitally, and have them stand in the background as an extra or something like that. But how else can you get people involved in a way that shows your expertise? What a cool experience that would be for someone to, I was in the movie, not just, producer credits. That's interesting. Might be a resume builder for someone, but wouldn't it be even cooler to get your face digitally altered into a monster up on the screen?
Yeah, and if we're already on the subject of pledge rewards, I'm liking the master classes.
I like that too.
I do master classes, and I give talks on crowdfunding, and I do like the fact that John's going about it in that way. I think he does speak convincingly, and he does speak from authority. Moreover, they've garnered a few festival awards for Panic Button, and if you watch the 2 trailers that exist for Panic Button, they're both very well executed. I think his actors are very attractive and talented, and I think the high concept, as we describe it in filmmaking parlance again, high concept is essentially pitting 2 conflicting ideas and pairing them together in a way that is not necessarily intuitive. That's the general gist of high concept. This is a high concept film, but as of right now, it's more whiz-bang artistry as opposed to actual gravitas and concrete plot device. And maybe he's kind of missing the point a bit on that.
Yeah, to me, this looks like a film that I would like to see from a Kickstarter perspective, I have to wonder: am I being marketed to, or am I being, enticed to pledge and be a part of it? And I can't quite tell. Partly because I've got the blinders on, because it looks like something I would like to see. So I guess we'll see how this shakes out. How many more days did they have left?
We got a month left. We got a month
left. A lot of time.
A lot of time, but also, this could be a lesson in humility.
Have you ever seen anybody kind of kickstart their campaign halfway through to get things moving again? They launched in the middle of December. They've got till the middle of February. Is it possibly time for them to kick it up a notch, change things around?
At this point, I'm not concerned that he's going to not raise the money. I believe that he will raise the money. What he's probably losing in this opportunity, the precious duration of time. These 30 days are your almost make it or break it period to raise an audience which will go out and evangelize on your behalf.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter if he could pick up the pace financially. He's losing on the sort of the PR war here, and that's what I think needs to be improved. He could come out, of course, with our typical, our remedies. We like to propose things like daily blogs, video blogs on a daily basis to be deployed every day, already sitting in inventory with a simple, on YouTube it would be a simple matter of just making it public as opposed to keeping it on a private setting, or things that happen by the by, and it would be of interest to an audience. I'm not seeing 12 comments
right
for this,
from 95 backers or 98 backers,
from a smashing pledge video with a guy with like major know-how. Look at all of their Hollywood credits and all of these people that are coming to bear on this project and volunteering their time or for cut rate or whatever the case may be. But he's only got 12 comments. I haven't even looked at the substance of the comments, which I'll do right now. But maybe we can bring that up on screen, eh, Brett?
Sure, yeah. I'll bring that up while... here we go. So here's the 12 comments, and there's some folks asking some questions. One gentleman says, "I'll be increasing my pledge later this week, but I would love to help raise more money for this film. Any suggestions?"
And by the way, 5 of the comments are from the project creator.
Right, yeah, most of these are, half of these are replies. So he is replying. He's engaged with the people that are talking about it. That's definitely a positive. It's not like he's missing from action here. But all these comments are coming from him. But it's strange that he's not funneling more people in to talk. He's got 98 backers. Those backers are not they've sent money, but they're not really helping push the conversation at all, are they?
Well, as of right now, I think we are going to give this one a...
It's got a lot of potential, but yeah, there's something missing here. Maybe it was the holidays. This was they launched this campaign over the holidays. Do you think right before the end of December? Do you think that might have put the kibosh on some of the momentum of this project? People lost track of it?
Their thinking may have been the extra few days prior to the holiday would have given them a little bit of extra juice, some bonus. I think that was part of their thinking. But remains to be seen. We'll be keeping our eyes on this campaign, because when you go into it with balls of steel, it's always nice to see whether you can back it up or whether you start to melt.
Yeah, no, I would agree. There's he's asking for 100,000, but he's really asking for 3.1. So it seems like he's hedging his bets through Kickstarter. Just give me 100,000 so that I can get the real money I need.
It just seems like, to me, it seems as though he's not confident in his ability to raise the full sum. Because if he really was as confident as he's talking, just ask for 250,000.
Right.
Even your dog agrees.
My dog agrees. She's shaking it off right now.
All right, so we'll keep an eye on this, like I said, and if things change, I think we'll be pleasantly surprised. And I think what will be interesting to observe with Mr. Shackleton's project is how he succeeds in turning this around. Because right now, the momentum is, if not completely slow, moribund is probably a really severe word, but he's Antarctica-ing it. That's a new word.
All right. Well, we will see, and good luck to him. Need something.
See you later, Brett. Take care.
See ya. Bye.
Bye bye.